Hello there. Star Wars Scran here. Let's see who is in the chat. So far we have Darth Pause, who says, I kicked him off the stream. That is not entirely true, Darth Pause. It would seem that there's... Here, where's my microphone? Microphone? My camera. Hello. It would seem that there's some pretty bad news happened with the LegendsCon. Like an hour or so before I started the stream, turns out LegendsCon 2 was cancelled, and then it was Ryan Kinnell went live. Well, OG Star Wars did first. I caught some of that. Scran banned me from the channel. You're not banned. I can still send the link out if you want me to, Darth Pause. The stream's probably not going to go according to plan because I had some stuff I wanted to talk about, but this news about the cons kind of burst me a bit, you know. Like I wasn't even going to be able to attend, but I'm kind of gutted for everyone that was looking forward to it, and I was kind of looking forward to experiencing it through everyone, you know. Nasal Servant Arc. All right, dude. I don't know if you've heard the news. The LegendsCon 2 that was being held in Texas. It got cancelled. Matt Wilkins and Ryan Kinnell were talking about it earlier. Oh, Fabian of Many Interests. Good morning, dude. Good to see you. What did Pause say? I don't join streams when people have less than 373 subs. Oh, well. That's too bad, Pause. Well, Nasal, they were saying it was more to do with basically people that were running the con. They don't like certain channels. Well, this is what they think. Like channels like Arcade Outpost and Matt Wilkins, even Eckhart's Ladder they were talking about, which is wild because they're completely, they're obviously completely different kind of channels. But really, just anyone that ever speaks kind of negatively about like Star Wars or Disney Star Wars, you know what I mean? I would have joined, but woke SJWs ruined the day. Yeah, it's all right. Pause. I can organize another stream like specific because obviously this is my first stream using Streamyards and it seems to be working out pretty well. It's a lot better than the previous ones. But I really want to get you on to talk about KOTOR when I finally complete that, if I ever complete it, because I'm a fake fan. So, but yeah, it's pretty rubbish. They've cancelled that con. If I had the means, I would have loved to have flown over and went to that, not just to meet all the authors and stuff like that, but like all the content creators that I like watching. Darth Prime's here, good to see you, man. I remember Matt Wilkins and Ryan Kinnell announcing the cancellation of LegendsCon. Yeah, so that was just today, wasn't it? But I think they kind of anticipated it, to be honest. The other thing is, I know United Spacers Alliance, he's going live right now as well, and I guess we share a lot of the same, a lot of the same kind of people that like to drop in on the chats and stuff. So it's whatever. Nasal says, unbelievable. Well, Legends Expo is still going to be a thing in California. Maybe I'll see you there. Well, that's the one that like more power to you. Anyone that's going there. That's I know they did the last one, and it had a lot of like Disney stuff there, and I know there's a lot of bad blood between the people running it and the people that were running the LegendsCon in Texas one. But like that aside, like people should really put their kind of personal feelings aside when it comes to this stuff. Everyone's like the EU fandom's pretty niche as it is. You don't want to be excluding people based on whether you like them or not, you know. Fabian says, let me know when you start playing KOTOR 2. I'd love to talk to you about that. All right, Fabian, cool. Yeah, minted. That'd be awesome. Darth Pause has been bullying me for weeks and weeks and weeks to play KOTOR. So I'm on, what is it? Dantooine. I'm on Dantooine. I've gotten to the Starforge ruin, and it's It's like those ancient droids that it takes like 10 minutes each to defeat them. And I'm really rubbish at the kind of turn-based combat, so I'm having a hard time with it. I wonder if Star Wars Marvel purists will cover this topic for tonight's stream. Oh yeah, you can anticipate that. I think he's gonna go off. I was surprised Ryan Kinnell didn't go more overboard with it. You could tell he was a bit peeved with it. But purists, I know purists probably won't hold back. And like I say, Tim over on United Spacers Alliance is talking about it just now. So hopefully I'll be able to stop over there and see what he's saying to it in a little bit. KOTOR is Legends. That's right, Darth Pause. KOTOR is Legends. But anyway, like I said, I had something I wanted to talk about because it involves kind of like the same old. Oh, there's Darth Autisticus. Good to see you, man. If you play KOTOR 2, do it on PC for the restored content mod. Yeah, what's his name? Steve Kenobi. I was talking to him about it. He was saying that obviously KOTOR 2 was rushed, and if you play it on PC, like you say, it's got all that restored stuff. I believe it's still not perfect, but yeah, because I'm playing it on Switch right now. Total fake gamer, fake KOTOR fan. Oh, there's Cool Kid in the chat. He says, I really enjoyed your Cannon Bomb and Continuity War videos, very well researched. Oh yeah, you were asking about those in whose chat was it we were in? I'm glad you actually checked those out. I'm really proud of those videos actually. I think they're really good resources for like I'm talking about the anti-EU fallacies and rhetorics that you hear. Fabian says it's still a decent game without the mods. All right, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like the first one, I don't want to say too much because I want to save it for the stream with pause. But I've been keeping notes while playing it, and like I'm really impressed. Like it definitely feels like you're in the Star Wars universe. It's not too similar to like OT or PT. It's its own thing, but it's still very Star Wars for lack of a better term. Darpaw says Scran has trouble with turn-based. Yes, I do. Especially, it was when I was going up against the Rancor, and then there's obviously that pile of bones with you're meant to like, I forget, you're meant to like put like some sort of grenade in it to get the Rancor to eat it. But I had Zalbar fire. I had Zalbar firing at the Rancor, and I just like ran up the side of him. But then once I found out like how you're supposed to approach it, I was like, I really need to like rethink my like. It's more of a like a strategic game, you know. It's not just running around hitting things. Decrepit says, "At work's grand brother." Pause bounce. Pause. That's all Pause needs to do. He just needs to bounce. You're at work spraying a house with gnarly paint. Hope everyone's having a good day. Oh, cheers, Decrepit. I hope you are too. I hope your work day is going all right. I'm glad to see a handful of you in here with the LegendsCon news going on. Hey, there's Steve Kenobi in chat. Good to see you, man. I was just saying I've set up Streamyards now, so I'll be able to start getting guests on to talk about specific topics and stuff like that. The stream tonight has been a bit kind of what would you say? Not going to plan because of the whole LegendsCon thing. It's a bit of a bummer. But yeah, we'll get into this because I know quite a lot of people followed my channel. Hopefully because they like the content, but like I'm not naive enough to know that some of it was to do with like my interactions on X. Like I would kind of get into like arguments, I guess, with people and trying to like correct them on things they were saying about George and the EU, and I'm not really doing that at the moment. To be honest, I found it quite like addictive. Like I was spending far too much time on my phone, like, oh, you're wrong, here's evidence, blah blah blah, and it's like, people like that don't generally look at what you send them. They don't really care about the facts and stuff like that. So I just want to take a bit of time to talk about a specific thing that happened on X, because it's something you see quite a lot. Auditect is here. Good to see you. I saw you on Quinlan Voss's stream last night. He was talking to Mandalore. That was a good stream. Cool Kid says, have you done a ranking of the real Star Wars films? I'm curious of what it would be. Yeah, sure. I've not done one on my channel. I mean, it's one of those things that kind of changes from time to time, but generally I would say, because it has changed. It's always Empire Strikes Back first, and then Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi kind of swap places from time to time. But I'd say Empire, Return, Revenge, A New Hope, and then Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones swap places sometimes. So let's say Empire, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, A New Hope, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. That's generally what I'd say. What's anyone in chat? What's your rankings of the real Star Wars? Oh, and you've got to put the Ewok movies in there too, but they can sit just after Attack of the Clones. Decrepit says, yeah, I want to know what happened before I go back to work. All right, Decrepit. I don't know too much about it. It was shortly before I was going to go live. Like I actually was going to have Darth Paws and OG Star Wars on, hopefully to have a hangout. But the news dropped that LegendsCon 2 in Texas got cancelled, and then Ryan Kinnell and Matt Wilkins went live to talk about it, and it's basically a lot of behind the scenes kind of stuff with people not being very professional, and it seems like they weren't, like, on the run up to it, they already weren't kind of promoting it very well. But it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't really seem like it should be the responsibility of fans to promote a Comic-Con, you know, like sell your tickets. Scran caused it to be canned. Aye, because I wasn't going to go. I was going to go buy some Theory Sabers at the other one instead. SD Kenobi says, Empire is my favorite, but my favorite part of Star Wars is from when Luke gets the droids and until they get to to Mos Eisley. I remember you said that to me, that the first, or maybe I heard it on a stream, the first half of A New Hope's your favorite Star Wars, and I can totally understand why you'd say that. Oh, there's Cool Kids. He says, goated list. Mine would be Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, A New Hope, Attack of the Clones, The Empire Strikes Back. Wow, that's a wild list. Let's see. So you've got Phantom Menace before A New Hope, and then Empire last. That's I appreciate you being honest. That's a wild list. That's crazy. Fabian's list is Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Sith. Understandable. And then you've got A New Hope, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. Yeah, for me, like, Empire and Revenge and Jedi are always going to be up there. But then it's like, I always do that, and then A New Hope's so far down the list. It's like, but it's also like one of the best ones. It's not like they become less good, you know. It's they're all good. It's just personal preference. Yeah, Decrepit. He's live right now, I believe. But so yeah, like, I was surprised that a handful of yous were in here, because I know he's going to be talking about it. Stig, is it Stig or Stieg? I meant to ask you that last time I spoke to you. I think it's Stieg. Attack of the Clones is the most important Star Wars movie. It sets everything in motion. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's like that move, just the scenes on Camino alone, they're just so full of lore. It's fantastic. I like that movie. it's last on my list, but it's by no means like I don't hate that movie whatsoever. It's definitely got some of the weirdest, like the cheesiest dialogue, which I can forgive. Some of the CGI doesn't quite hold up, but I don't know. Brilliant movie. I love that movie. I'd say I think Attack of the Clones is maybe the one I've seen the least amount of times, but no, it's brilliant. Steeg, yes, I said it right. Oh, there's Darth Pause. Um, Darth Pause's list is Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back, Phantom Menace, A New Hope, Attack of the Clones. All right, yeah, that's a pretty good list. That's solid. But yeah, it can change from time to time, can't it? Fabian says, "Yeah, I think Attack of the Clones is brilliant. I was 6 when I saw it in cinema." All right, we're pretty similar ages then. I was 7 going on 8 when I saw Attack of the Clones in cinema, and then I was 10 when Revenge of the Sith came out, which was awesome. I've still got my Obi-Wan Kenobi like toy somewhere, but he's like in pieces. I used to use I used to use Obi-Wan and Anakin, and I had like an old phone where you could like stop and pause the camera, and I'd do like stop motion having them fight like on Mustafar. It was awesome. Steeg's laying it out for us. He says Anakin falls in love with Padme. Anakin starts going dark side. The clones are made. Palpatine gets put in power, and then the Clone Wars starts. Yeah, that movie definitely does its job. Decrepit says that's unfortunate. I was telling my friends in Texas um, about LegendsCon. I would have bought tickets if I didn't have to work. Yeah, and I would have loved to have went, but it wasn't really in the cards for me. You were 8 during Attack of the Clones as well, so Decrepit and myself are the same age. Awesome. Steeg says his ground zero was Marvel Star Wars comic number 75 and the Hoth Han Solo figure. Oh, dude, I had the Luke Skywalker version of that, and he had a black rubber lightsaber. Believe it or not, watched the movies years later. Yes, Steeg, someone screwed up the real Legends Con. If you go, Matt Wilkins made his own video about it, giving his thoughts, and then he appeared on Ryan Kinnell's channel, and he kind of revealed a bit more about it. You're not going to get um, you're not going to get everything out of me because I don't know. So you'd be better heading over there at some point. Um, but yeah, I am still kind of recovering from like a head cold or the flu or whatever it was, and I probably won't get around to reading Shatterpoint tonight, unfortunately. I just kind of I didn't want to cancel the stream because I really do enjoy coming on and talking with you guys. Oh yeah, Fabian, same here. Did join the club, decade number 3. Right. Anyway, so I'll have a wee sip of my tea and then we'll continue. Unless everyone was really looking forward to Shatterpoint season 8, chapter 8. Pause. If you want to come on, I'll invite you. Just say the words. I'll send the invite. You know you want to. Side effects from the transporter accident. Oh, that's William. I released that Star Trek history video of the original series, and William's like, "What is going on here? The mirror universe." Oh, there's a little Porg in chat. She was helping me out last night trying to get Streamyards set up. It was a good laugh actually. That Pause is a coward. He doesn't want to come on. Here, tell you what, I'll send him the invite anyway. It can only be a success And we're back. I sent Pause the link. He might turn up, he might no. But if he does turn up, he'll have to answer some trivia questions or he's not getting in. Oh, cheerio, Decrepit. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. Long live the EU. I guess this will be a bit more of like a hangout stream. I just the thought of reading right now in my throat. I mean, I usually like to spend a bit of time prepping the stream, but like that news about the con dropped, and I just ran out of time. Oh, I think Pause has vanished. He's a fake fan. Ugh. What are you saying to it, little porg? Oh, Fabian, I love a bit of trivia, especially Star Wars trivia. Well, Fabian, can you answer this question? I'll give you an easy one. Who adopted Princess Leia? That's a nice easy one for you. And didn't give him the answer either. Steve says it shouldn't even be called LegendsCon, to be honest. The name is yeah. Should be the EU Con or Lucas Era Con. Yeah, I think if they would have retitled it, it might have gotten a bit more yeah, they would have got a bit more attention for it if it was like a real Star Wars con, you know. What's the goal for moving forward with Star? What is the goal for moving forward with Star Wars? Oh, Decrepit stole the answer. Bail Organa, that's right. Oh, and he's out. Oh, Fabian got it too. We're all good. Nah, William, you didn't get it, pal. Sorry. Yeah, I can't remember Bail Organa's wife's name either. But I heard someone say the other day, like the plot hole where Leia says that she remembers like her mother. Someone mentioned that maybe Leia was referring to like her adopted mother, and I guess that kind of makes sense. I can't remember the specific dialogue from. Hey, there's OG Star Wars. Thanks for hopping in chat. I know United Spacers Alliance is going live just now. It's really rubbish news about LegendsCon. It's gutting. I know you were looking forward to it as well. Yeah, I know it wasn't written yet, Lil Porg. I'm just talking about the gap there. Oh, we've got some guests. Well, let's see what they're saying to it first. Oh, OG Star Wars is here. Let's see. Pause is a fake fan, so we'll have ladies first.
Hey there. Hi.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good.
You can only come on the channel if you can answer a trivia question.
Okay, what's that?
So, what planet are the clones from?
What planet are the clones from? Well, they're from Camino, but if you look into their heritage, it's what do you call it? Concord Dawn.
All right, I'll assume that's correct. You're welcome to stay. Right, let's.
I went beyond just that.
We'll get Pause on in a second. Add to stage. Howdy, Pause.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. LegendsCon. You can see my bio. LegendsCon is gay. That's my bio.
Well, you've got to answer a trivia question as well, or you've got to bounce.
Could it be episode 7?
There is no episode 7. Bounce. How are you feeling about the LegendsCon thing?
I'll let
Okay,
OG go first because I wasn't even gonna go.
all right. He's like, I wasn't gonna go. I am very much disappointed with how it was handled. And I had a few questions answered, but not the ones that I needed directly answered with talking with Matt Wilkins directly. And it's just a huge disappointment. It's something that we need as the EU fan base, a Star Wars, George Lucas era of Star Wars fan base, but letting some of this political climate affect people's opinions based upon other people, they really shot themselves in the foot with it.
Yeah, it's really gutting, and it's like 6 weeks until it was supposed to happen, isn't it?
Right.
Coincidentally, sorry.
I didn't get my plane ticket because I was deciding on if I was going to get a vendor or not, and I was going to wait around the first here, which to decide if I wanted to get a vendor, because then I could sell my paintings. I can have a place for us to hang out, do conversations, interviews, and stuff like that. Yeah, so at least I'm not missing out on a plane ticket, but the hotel and stuff, yes.
Yeah, I know. Did you have something to add to that? Pause.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say it was coincidentally canceled after Ryan Cannell announced he was going. Definitely not because he was going, because he's a racist, toxic grifter.
Did he announce he was going then before it happened?
Yeah, I think it was on the community stream. He said he might be able to make it for one day, and then about 2 days later got canned.
Oh, right, okay. That's ridiculous. Like, put your personal feelings aside, you know what I mean? Like, I was saying that, like, the EU fandom's pretty niche, I think. So you get all these other big cons that people can go to, just kind of come together for something special, you know?
Right. You know, and everything that was
sorry.
Everything that was revealed, like with some things I said, like I didn't get into the Ryan Cannell part, or like even like Matt was saying, like even beforehand, that he suspected that I was on this, you know, do not contact list and because I'm the lesser offensive than Ryan, they reached out to me. So there was all that was going on in the back, behind the scenes kind of thing, even before this was all revealed, because we wanted to just go ahead and just promote it and get this out, because like I said, this is something big for the bigger overall Star Wars fandom under George Lucas era. And yes, we did not agree with the Legends as the title, but it is what it is, you know, because we're not the ones who are putting this together, but we're going to promote strictly EU stuff or Star Wars George Lucas era stuff. So that right there, I don't think it will ever come to fruition again like it's supposed to, which is disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you guys were talking about trying to get like some hype for it and trying to promote it and stuff like that. Like that was really recent as well. It's honestly just a big disappointment.
Yeah.
They expected YouTubers to promote it and not themselves, which is not how you run a convention or anything.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't expecting YouTubers to directly promote it. But they did have people on social media reach out to YouTubers, but only certain ones. Their management all around, no matter what, for promoting and marketing wasn't very great. And I pointed that out many times before, like things like working on big events. I work on a major event, you know, that happens for the tribal community and greater Indian country, I guess you could say, here in America, which stretches out into Canada for Native Americans, is the powwow that comes every month in August. And, you know, I'm behind the social media stuff, the digital marketing stuff, and then I travel and dance and stuff. So I also promote it that way. You have to have people, you have to have feet on the ground. You have to have feet, you know, digitally there. There's so many different aspects. And you also have to, you know, if this is the very first one, or it's one that's evolving from a past event, you need to have like certain type of deals, like the first 100 tickets sold, you know, 5 people will be selected to have a meet and greet with so-and-so for about 20 minutes and stuff like that. Having promotions like that to boost your ticket sales way ahead of time. So, and then have that time frame open for a while so that people will come in and buy tickets, hoping that they're the first 100 people. and so on and so forth, you know. So there's so many aspects behind that. And then when you feel like, oh, the event's not going to fill up in the center or the location we picked, then maybe looking at the contract and seeing if you can relocate it to something, the venue to a smaller one that's not as pricey. And there's so many little aspects that are in my mind, like how could this have been handled so that people wouldn't lose out on the experience, but also on the money they invested into it.
Because I'm wondering, like obviously it's the first, it's kind of small, it's the first one, but even like Star Wars Celebration, they go like not last year, the year before, they were in like, it was like London, or this year they're going to like Japan. It's like they maybe could have reached out to like EU fans in other countries, like invited them over to come and, you know, it could have, I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many things that that could have been factored in. If
like I only know about it through like channels like yourselves, you know what I mean? Like no one over here probably knows about it.
Right. Like I said, feet on the ground. So like if you have your social media people, but then you also have to have feet on the literal ground for it as well. And to send them to conventions to market it, to different conventions to market it. Have a vendor booth for the LegendsCon 2 to market it. And then maybe have some fun. You win this kind of thing. And if you buy this ticket or whatever, you know, so there's so many ways that can be played into getting the word out to the larger community and promote it. So, you know, and Twin Suns try to do their best too. And they're an awesome organization that helps get EU books out to, you know, fans and stuff like that. So, you know, but they're just one faction.
Yeah, I know they've got I remember Matt Wilkins talking about it. They've kind of got their hands full. I think Twin Suns got a lot bigger than they imagined, and they're kind of wrapped up doing that instead of doing other things.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, I would think Ryan Cannell and Matt Wilkins are probably the biggest voices in the expanded universe community as of now. And they took that, 400,000 subscriber, 10,000 subscriber channel with all of these fans that would go to see them and all of these authors. They cut that down to like 90% because, hey, he's mean, we can't have him on. They took an already niche audience and threw it all away just because some losers didn't agree with what Ryan and Eckhart's Ladder, who is a paid shill, had to say.
Yeah, and, you know, it's not just everybody that is on the planning committee and stuff, you know, that may have agree or, you know, is at fault to how Ryan was treated, I guess you could say, and many others that could promote. But there was an overall consensus that basically they did submit to it. So that's kind of sad, you know. So like I said, they shot themselves in the foot. I'm very disappointed. It's a bummer, and I feel for those who had, you know, bigger plans on centering around the LegendsCon. And we were all excited due to the fact that I've grown up and I was never able to get to a convention due to some circumstances in my life and stuff. And this would have been actually my very, very first, well, actually, no, I lied, because there's one that I went to just for a day down in LA area, but like full on Star Wars type convention. And meeting the authors and sitting down and scheduling, you know, interviews and stuff like that. And then sitting down and meeting, like, finally face to face, Matt Wilkins, Ryan, Tim, and, you know, everyone that I have, you know, basically that I've interviewed for Talking EU, and then scheduling new Talking EU content as well. And building this greater, stronger community that is based upon George Lucas' era of Star Wars. And now it's gone. You know, it's gone. Doesn't mean that I won't have the opportunity to meet anybody, but that was just a great focal point to make our stance on preserving George Lucas' era of Star Wars stronger. And now look how we are looked at now because of this, you know, and it doesn't do any justice for us at all.
Yeah, it's not a great outcome, is it? It would have been so good if it worked out.
Yeah,
it's a complete. Sorry.
Maybe in the future it can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you were saying, it's like, sorry.
No, go. You go ahead.
it's a complete, it makes us look like, oh, this con's not going to happen. These EU fans can't run anything. There's a couple of people that actually want to promote the EU, don't care about who you voted for, what gender you are, just about Star Wars, but because you had these couple of people talking in people's ears, hey, this Ryan guy sucks, right? Ruined it for everybody that was going to go, and ruined the perception of any fan-made cons for Star Wars or any fan-made cons in general, because, hey, we're going to cancel it 6 weeks out because, oh, Ryan Cannell's mean, Eckhart's Ladder's mean. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you know what? If this wouldn't have been canceled and it was a great successful hit and stuff, I would have loved to see like the following year, if they decided to keep it going, like have Leland Chee come in, and so we can all sit down and pick his brain, because we know that he's not the first one to maintain and or put together the continuity and maintained it. So he came in as a hired to digitally put it on a database so that they have it on their computer devices as easier reference instead of flipping through their quote unquote Bible to keep continuity, so that would have been something great to sit down and talk with Leland Chee about all his role in maintaining and recording the EU. And then even Sue Stone, even though she's no longer with Lucasfilm, that would have been another person to sit down and talk with when it came, because I love the continuity. I want to know, why did you decide to do this, Sue Stoney, to maintain the continuity? And look what the success, because you cater to us fans and you understood that we love the single history of Star Wars, and that you went and took special care into it to record the continuity and maintain it, and then decided that, oh well, this is beyond just my scope because I'm not hired to do this, and they brought in Leland Chee for that. Just the whole overall dynamics of that I would love to pick their brains about on these decisions and stuff.
Oh, definitely, and I'm glad you're here, because you've segued into what I was actually going to be talking about.
That was the plan.
And you've just answered everything for me. But because I brought up, you know what, I can just ignore everything I was going to talk about because it's ridiculous. But the main thing was, when that dude was talking about Leland Chee starting maintaining the continuity, and it was actually because I found that quote from Sue Stoney. Here, I wrote it down. I'll just read her quote, because this quote on its own debunks what he was talking about. Let's see. Sue Stoney. In the Bantam era. Yeah, this is in the Bantam era before Chee was even on the scene. It says the idea was passed to George Lucas, who agreed that licensing could expand upon the films with original fiction set after Return of the Jedi. In the early days of the publishing department, Lucy Wilson worked closely with her administrative assistant, Sue Stoney, on editorial projects. The two of them decided that to maintain quality, it would be crucial to monitor the storylines of all projects to ensure that none of their books contradicted one another. This continuity decision became one of the department's biggest challenges and greatest successes. So this is a lot of that stuff's in the making of Shadows of the Empire as well, and that's mid-90s. So Leland Chee wasn't even there, and even George Lucas talks about those black binders that they had. There was source books. There was so much information out there. What's his name? Howard Rothman. He talked about keeping the integrity of the mythology intact and stuff like that.
Right.
Long before Leland Chee was even there. But this dude's talking about how I'm he was calling me misguided and stuff like that, and it's that I'm what is it they say? They say you're rewriting history and stuff like that. But all the evidence is out there. You share it with them, and then what they do is they just say, "Oh, that's not what I was talking about. All I said was Leland Chee started the database holocron," and it's that's not what you said. You said he created the concept of it, which is false.
Right. He stated that the EU wasn't kept until Leland Chee was hired. So it's even in his tweet. You can pull up the tweet and show it to him. And, and then he's like, no, he's the only one. And then what I realized is that when I shared with him about Sue Stoney, he didn't know about her. You could tell. Yeah. And then he goes and says, well, it was Sue Stoney and so and so and so. So it wasn't just her. I'm like, dude, you didn't even know about her until I mentioned her. So what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, what he was saying that she didn't do a good enough job or something like that.
Yeah, and Leland never said that in that interview.
Yeah, that information was already out there for authors to use that entire time.
Exactly.
And but then the thing I noticed after that, that's kind of surfaced. I've never seen this before. It's people talking about like Howard Rothman and Leland Chee, and like they say they blame them for this like EU like lie that EU was always canon and stuff like that. They think it's Lucasfilm that were spreading that stuff, which I guess because they were creating the canon for George, but it's not like they're spreading a lie or anything like that. It's just a weird, bizarre way to look at it.
Right. And, and it's just another type of anti-EU rhetoric that we've been seeing. This is kind of a new one in a sense that, Leland did it first, when we all know if you were privy to the EU for a very long time and you got into the history of why and how they started, keeping and tracking continuity, then you would see the true face of that, and that would be Sue Stoney. Not taking any credit away from Leland, because his database idea, like what he was hired for and all the stuff, is amazing, because it does need to be both on soft and hard copy in a sense, as when you want to keep records, because you never know if there's going to, if something happens to the hard copies, that's the papers and stuff in the binder, or what they call the Bible and stuff, versus it being on digitally where you can transfer it to another location and reboot it again, and not reboot it like the continuity and stuff, but bring it back up on the computer into your database. And it's easier to type in the search word for the characters and stuff like that. So it's a lot more easier and useful on computer, as well as, keeping it record on paper.
Yeah, definitely. Just like an easier, a better way of, making sure there's no contradictions and stuff like that,
right?
Which you don't want, because it's one chronological timeline. You don't want contradictions.
And real quick,
but it goes even further. On you go, Puz.
Yeah, sorry. What you were saying earlier, you'll show these people evidence about the EU and like, it's a parallel universe, blah blah blah. Just look at George Lucas's actions. This is what I was doing with this Kid Insanity guy on Twitter. But he called it a parallel universe. Well, I guess he gave out non-canon parallel universe books for Christmas. I guess he worked closely with Stover, because you could just look at the actions instead of the words. It proves that it's all canon, but you'll have these people that ignore any evidence saying that, because, hey, I have this one quote taking out of context, and I'm right. That's exactly what it is, especially with the EU now.
Yeah, but I mean, you can even look at his words as well, because when he says things like universe and worlds, he's talking about, if you look at the context, he's talking about mediums, or he's talking about areas of the company. It's not it's not like separate universes. It's separate parts of the company that add to the overall saga.
Yeah. Right. Even his most recent comment about the EU, I think it is his most recent one, the father, children, and the grandchildren.
Well, referring to the EU in a sense, yes, but I think that one interview where he's talking about having all the sources, and referring to all the sources being the EU for the lore, where he and that's another one that that can be used as well. Because why would you say, if you want to know all about these characters and stuff like that, then pull up all the sources we have if it's separate from the movies?
Yeah, like that. That clip's amazing, because what is it? He says there's like over 5,000 characters. I'm pretty sure that's not in the movies. There's only so many.
Right. Why would he refer to something that he does not care for, that he looks down upon, and doesn't consider a part of the saga?
Yeah,
exactly.
If he hated it, he wouldn't just they wouldn't be saying that it's all part of the whole world of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tie this back to LegendsCon real quick?
Oh,
Like,
sure.
about the EU. So yeah, you'll have these people that go out, bash the EU, spread misconceptions, and now we have an expanded universe convention that was canceled. I think Purist was the one that said it in somebody's chat. The EU gets continuously get punched down on. It's kind of true because you'll have people that, hey, the EU was never canon. This con's canceled. The other one in California is gay. It just punch after punch, Star Wars series style of the expanded universe, and it's pretty sad to see. Even though I wasn't going to this con, like something that you actually care about, having misconceptions, a con that other people I know are looking forward to, which is sad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's talking about being an old school Legends fan. Like,
Yeah.
he was presented with like an actual Legends con, but he just looked down, just turned his nose like up at it.
Well,
you know?
he wasn't asked correctly. You got to remember that.
But yeah, it was a bit facetious. But it's like, come on now, he wasn't going to go in the first place.
Oh yeah, he definitely was not going.
Yeah. You know, and I had like I talked with Matt Wilkins a couple times today on the phone. Me and Ryan and Kendall were both calling him at nearly the same time. I barely got some information from, or we barely got into our conversation. Then Ryan called, and then Matt called me back. So we're playing phone tag and stuff like that. But we talked about like who could help like advertise and stuff like that, the LegendsCon. And you know, so theory was brought up in a sense with between me and Matt in our conversation. And he's like, and just like what he said on Ryan's channel, you know, it doesn't matter what their beliefs are. What their beliefs are between Disney folklore versus you know the George Lucas era of Star Wars, and that's my paraphrasing what he said because he didn't say it that way, but it's about going there and bringing the people you influence for the love of the expanded universe.
Yeah.
And even Ryan even reiterated that when they were talking on his live, it's all about talking about what that specific event is about, and that's all. And so bringing like if theory did come, it would be because and it would have been a plus because what Matt pointed out to me is that it would open his eyes about what expanding universe really is, because he doesn't know.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Ryan does recognize that. Matt does recognize that Star Wars theory doesn't really know the EU. So this would have been a good eye opener for him to really hone in respect towards this part of Star Wars that George and the authors he brought in created.
I mean, that's the reason he wasn't going to go in the first place. Like, yeah, it would be very eye-opening to him, but why would he go to a convention about something he doesn't care about? Because we all know he doesn't care about the EU. So, like, he's not going to go, hey, I want to go to this to open my eyes. He pretty much hates everybody there anyway. He also doesn't like the expanded universe. So, no matter if Matt convinced him, if Ryan Cannell, if Scran, if anybody can try to convince him, I don't think it would have worked.
You know what? And if he would have showed up, if this would have like happened and he would have showed up, I would have interviewed him. And I would have been very respectful. I wouldn't go Raging Rhino on him. You know, in a sense of like going up and saying, why are you doing this shit? I would have asked him, okay, so what got you into the Star Wars? Okay, so what got you into the EU? And then would have gone from there. How he would have answered and if he would have decided to follow through on that is all up to him. Not trying to be like, oh, I'm going to call him out by interview. No. I want to know what made you a fan. And then, yes, I probably would have asked some questions that probably been kind of revealing, but I'm an interviewer. But my thing is to show the authenticity of the person and what got them into the EU and George Lucas era of Star Wars. And so he probably wouldn't have allowed me to interview him. So, but I would consider doing that just because of that. And then I would have been called a shill.
Yeah.
after that because I interviewed him.
You're talking to a guy that calls it Legends, you fence rider.
Oh, yeah.
He's an old school Legends fan.
Yeah, if I probably would have like really.
That doesn't read EU.
I probably would have triggered him so much by saying expanded universe and kept correcting him on that.
I know.
So
I mean, he
Oh,
probably
that's
would have
funny.
brought like all Legends like probably Legends banner star by star. It's like, hey, can you sign my Legends banner star by star on this mass market paperback? That's with his 19 paperback books, Legends.
No, there's 34.
What's
books
it?
in
The
the
numbers
New
went up.
Generation.
I thought it was. They said 24. Now it's 34.
Oh, it's 34. Yeah.
No, 34
Well, I know
is the one where Chewbacca comes back.
Legacy of the Force has 16, and then I think Fate of the Jedi has 12. I think. Yeah.
What order do those books come in?
Oh, what did they say? Was it NJO, Legacy of the Force, Fate of the Jedi? And I think that's the best way to read it. It's definitely.
Isn't that the right order?
Yeah, it is.
He didn't even know like which books were on the shelf. He's like, "Oh, I've got those downstairs." No, wait, it's these other ones.
No, he definitely knows which ones he has. He just doesn't want to admit he hasn't read them. Like, oh, I haven't read NJO. Did he have Legacy of the Force as well? He knows exactly what he has, but he's gonna act like he doesn't know.
And Legacy. I was listening to a bit of Dark Tide Ruin today at work. Like I think I'm on like chapter 7, but I was just got done finishing the part where, what is it? It's Jason and Jaina are talking together. They're having some calf, and Jason is kind of like he's worrying about the future, and then Jaina comes in and she's kind of like, you've got to pretty much just worry about the task in hand. You've got to worry about what you're doing right now. Don't focus on the past or what might happen in the future. I just think that's really good good advice from Stackpole there. You know, don't be anxious about like tomorrow kind of thing. Just
that reiterates what Yoda talks about, like, you know, the visions of the future, you know, like it's always in motion. So why focus on that little bit of information where it could be various scenarios?
Yeah, and then she said something cool. She was like, you're the kind of person that usually does look forward. Say there's a mug that it's never half full or half empty.
Oh, yeah.
You always say, is it the right mug? Is it full of the right stuff? I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I like keeping notes of those kind of like when I'm reading the EU, it's those kind of moments I look out for that I really enjoy.
You should do little bits about that then, because right now, like I do my EU shorts, which I haven't really, I barely did another one recently, but then I was gonna make an EU short out of my EU or my continuity chronicle, but I didn't want to make it less than a minute because then it takes a lot of information out of that. And I was like, oh my God. And this is from the Tenorist Way.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is calling back to the 1/5. And then I was like, crap, I could call this Continuity Chronicles, where I display a story that's over a minute that doesn't fit the EU shorts and have it, you know, and then show what they're talking about that within the historical timeline of the EU or of Star Wars. And so that's how that was birthed, just out of that. And so now I'm looking at all these stories and thinking, oh crap, because I'm always saying, oh, this event happened here, oh, this happened there. So now I'm going back on the books that I reread so far under the New Jedi Order, and I'm going to do some short videos on those as well. And with yours, you know, you like these special moments, like these things that kind of call back in a sense too, that you can make a small little tiny clips on your
that's
channel.
a good idea.
And those are very informative. I think the one I watched, well, I forget the exact title of it. The Tenebrous Way one. Yeah. Tenebrous Way one. Those will get like they're very informative, but you'll get a
Mhm.
video, hey Disney, pick one, that gets 1 million views. Hey Disney, pick one.
Hey, Disney, pick one. And then it's all about the Knights of the Old Republic. And I'm like, why is he saying, hey, Disney, pick one? Oh, so he is actually for Disney Star Wars bastardizing George Lucas era of Star Wars.
Exactly. Yeah, he wants to see Malik. He wants to see Exar Kun ruined. But it would be cool to see Dash Rendar on Ahsoka season 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why he's not interested in the books, because they're not on screen. But if you can take this cool story and put it on screen, sure, I'll watch it.
Well, yeah, because he can't read. I fully believe that he's illiterate.
Yeah, and then Stig Kenobi says, Kotor 1 kind of slightly predicts the future of the Yuuzhan Vong invasion in the future. Yeah, so you have that moment of like seeing one of either the Coral Skippers or one of the ships there and stuff. So that's another,
right?
Huh?
Doesn't Shield Point predict the Vong as well?
There's a lot of them throughout the history that does, and even like Mace Windu has a vision about it, but he can't quite pin it down. But and that's in Shatterpoint too. And then of course, what I shared with the Tenebrous Way also predicts that too, in a way.
Exactly, it was set up very well. And then I think was it Shadowhunter or Lockdown where
the Maul, one of those Maul stories?
No, yeah, I think there was one where Maul in one of the
Maul he fights a Yuuzhan Vong.
Yeah,
yes.
He fights the Vong. I forget what it was, a Shadowhunter or Lockdown. Yeah.
I think it might have been Lockdown. I think. I could be wrong. But yeah, I know that he did fight one of the Vongs, and he and never dealt with a species like that. So Lockdown, yeah.
Lockdown. All right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea that the Vong kind of came in about 40 or 50 years earlier, and we're kind of just investigating and stuff like that. And
yeah, well, longer than that. Before that was like 3,000. Yeah, they.
Oh, it was just
spotted
Shaddai.
it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about Shaddai Shies. Shaddai Shies.
Shaddai Shai. Yeah, but then you have Nomenor too that was brought into.
Was it Shaddai Shai's uncle or dad that was in the cave?
Yeah, it was. He was the one that was the. That was the skeleton that they excavated. Yeah, they dug up.
Yeah, that him.
Yeah, and that's why he was so mad.
Yeah.
And all right, I didn't realize they were there longer than that. Then I must have missed that.
They were already scouting and stuff, even back in the Kotor era, 3,000 years ago.
Spoilers!
Spoilers! Well, you're venturing through the new Jedi Order, so you might as well have a little bit of spoilers, something to look forward to when you go play.
I like a good spoiler. It's all good.
Yeah.
If you watched Pick One, Think One, whatever the video, Disney Pick One, he went full in on the KOTOR spoilers. Even though he's never finished the game, he knows exactly what happens at the end of it. Kind of.
Well, Wikipedia is a wonderful thing.
It's all a Google search away, remember.
All a Google search, Wiki, Google, but forget about the source books where you can actually go to the actual source and look it up and maybe get some more in-depth context about that source you're looking up.
Yeah. Well, I need to get my hands on that NGO one that goes through to Star by Star. I'd love to get a hold of that.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
Oh no, I'm just reiterating. Yeah, the role-playing game source book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pyrrha sent me a good eBay link on it. I think I got it for like $25 and it's pretty good condition.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to quickly say, sorry chat, I'm kind of ignoring you. It's weird for me because like I like watching both these people's channels, so like I kind of zone out while I'm listening to them because it's just weird. It's weird having them here.
You're just not used to having anybody, like we're your first guests, which is cool. I'm
very cool. Thanks for
being I remember this. It's like, this kind of nostalgia, I guess you could say, when I first started, and how like all the supporters that came in with me and I still love and adore today, no matter what, came in on my stream for the first time and supported me and stuff. So I understand how that feels. And it's kind of overwhelming because you're still new to monitoring and being the host. And so you have so much tasks on top of, keeping the conversation going and stuff like that. So Yeah, I get it.
Well, the good
Grant,
thing
if you need, you can use Dash Stars and Stupendous Waves breathing method because they have to prepare.
Oh,
They have to
damn.
45 minutes before.
It's not as good as Darth Choco's breathing. Have you heard that?
Oh yeah, he needs to turn the gain on his mic down. No,
the
but
good thing with
Wave and
having OG here is she does all the talking because she's a know-it-all. So
I know, I am the know-it-all, I guess. That's okay. Use me.
I'm the Legends expert. That's my name.
The Legends. I mean, I have so many titles. It's whatever hat I need to wear for as long as it fits the content, I guess you could say.
I think EU Elitist is the funniest one because I think most of us, I don't know if you do, but we embrace the title of being an EU Elitist, of being a gate. Like, you're a gatekeeper. Yeah, you're right. Like, it's not an insult or anything. You're just saying
they
what we
try to
are.
use it.
Yeah.
They try to use it as a a sticking point and trying to hurt your feelings. I'm gonna call you an EU elitist. Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's
you.
exactly what we are.
The one that the one that bugs me the most is the George Lucas purist, but it's like those people, they only care about the movies, but then it's like George, like I know George micromanaged those movies, but it wasn't just him that made those.
Well, yeah, so do you not care about Empire Strikes Back because that wasn't all George Lucas? Like that's not him. Like, do you only care about the prequels, or do you care about, like, there's no such thing as a George Lucas Pierce. It's
but then
all
they'll
Star
say
Wars.
that the prequels are too much George, all the yes men. It's bizarre, and then they'll discredit.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. If you're a George Lucas purist, you like his movies and you like everything that he had a hand in making, surely.
And the Ewok movies, right? But Theory doesn't like, oh, I'm never going to watch the Ewok movies. George had a hand in those. Why don't you like them?
That's that. Ironically, that's the only reason I watched those and reviewed them, is because he said that.
Oh, really?
I had a little bit of a, I looked down my nose at them, I guess. I was like, oh, they're just old cheesy, kids' movies, but they're brilliant. I loved them.
They're good, and that's probably why Matt Wilkins loves you so much, because you're like, yeah, the Ewoks, because that's his thing too. So he's like, I have a friend.
Because I commented down his live chat and he saw my name, and then he must have went to my channel as soon as I posted that, and he was like, oh, I love Ewoks, blah blah blah.
Yeah, he does. He's got Yub Nub, and that's one of his channels. That's his channel's mascot is Yub Nub and stuff. But going back to the George Lucas Pierce or whatever, what I find so funny or ironic or maybe hypocritical, I don't know, I can't nail down the word yet, but they will love all the OT pure, everything, and it's all Georges. It's Georges. I love Georges. But then when they go to the PT, and this is within this little range of that stereotype, I guess you can say, they're like, that's not that good, because George was left to his own device on creating it, and he should have had more men tell him no on certain situations. And then they'll go back and say, and he hardly created the OT, that's why it's so good. I'm like, then okay, then how are you a George Lucas purist if you said George didn't really have too much control on his OT, and then you hate that he had control over his PT? That doesn't make sense.
And then they'll say, well, I'm a George Lucas purist, I love the OT, but then they'll say Marsha Lucas made Star. It makes no sense.
Right. There's a lot of that.
It's Marsha Lucas, guys. I'm a George Lucas purist, but I like the OT, which he wasn't he was obviously the main person, but he wasn't always making the movies. And then they also say, hey, Marsha Lucas made Star Wars. So you're a Marsha Lucas, Steven, you're not a George Lucas purist.
It's so odd how they do mental gymnastics about that, and then they'll go in far as into George never had a hand in the EU, and then you have authors saying, oh, I specifically work with George, and it's
you got to remember that George sent out parallel universe non-canon books for Christmas. That's what you have to remember.
Yeah. And he loved the Dark Empire, even though all of a sudden he never had a hand in it, or never cared for it, or never approved of it.
The story I heard about Dark Empire was that when it came out, he was all of it. Because I heard that he said that they could use the Emperor instead of Vader. Mm-hmm. But then when it came out, he was apparently like, oh, I wouldn't have done that. And then Lucy Wilson was like, well, you told us we could do what we wanted, but now you want to be involved, type thing. So that's another good example. Sorry, Pause. That's another good example of how he did decide to have a hand in it, and he wanted to have some control in approving things and stuff like that to make sure that it's what he wanted.
Yeah. I think
And
what
the
he meant
thing is,
was, oh, sorry.
go ahead, you go. No,
I
go,
think
go,
what he
go.
meant was, yes, I'm gonna sign off on Dark Empire, but if I were to do it, that's not what I would have done. He didn't tell her, well, you can't do this. He
Yes.
signed off on it. I think he meant, hey, if I was writing the Dark Empire comic, I would not have done this. But he still signed off on it. So whether
Yeah,
you
it's like
like it,
when
I
he
don't like
said,
Dark
He still
Empire,
approved the
but it's canon.
Emperor to come back as a clone.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the thing. And the thing that I pointed out, and I need to sit down and really dig deep and do research so I can do a video about this, is there's a lot of Tom Veitch interviews about saying that Lucas approved, and he did directly respond with George Lucas regarding Palpatine. And then,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of interviews with that. And then he also talks about the Tales of the Jedi, which, you know, coincide with George Lucas's input. But we're talking about Dark Empire. And then so there's a lot, like you can find up a lot of interviews from him before his death. And then after his death, Lucy comes on and does this interview on someone's podcast and says, no, George never did that, never allowed it. He didn't like it. And then, so my thing is why all of a sudden bring this up after Tom Veitch's death when you could have corrected this a long time ago?
Yeah, sure.
And it's probably because, oh, sorry.
Okay, so I'm seeing this as something to do with Disney Star Wars and not wanting to show that Lucas had a say in things when it came to the EU and that he never cared for it. And the reason why I come to this conclusion is all the research I have done, especially with the Essential Legends reprints, a lot of the acknowledgements are taken out. No, all the acknowledgements are taken out, especially when it comes to George Lucas and them praising George Lucas for his help. So that to me just coincides with this, I wouldn't even say narrative, this research of mine. It's not a narrative. I'm not forming a narrative. I want to uncover the truth to why all of a sudden these are being said after the fact, when it could have been revealed beforehand.
And it's amazing that you, like, I want to do some investigative stuff with EU eventually, but with Dark Empire, it's great because you have people out here, I'm not going to name names, but they'll make a 20-minute video. Hey, George didn't care about Dark Empire. George wasn't involved with the EU until after Heir to the Empire, right? They'll make propaganda videos without researching the full story, Script Trooper. But it's actually good that people are investigating Dark Empire because that's probably one of the most interesting things with the EU and George because, yeah, I don't want him there, but I would not have done that, but people push any propaganda they want.
Yeah, and during the same time, Thrawn Trilogy was coming out, same as Dark Empire. So there was that back and forth like between Zahn and Tom, and Zahn not liking Tom's approach and stuff like that. And so there's that back and forth. Another thing to look into. But even Zahn has stated that George has worked with him. And also, you know, George is like, you know, check out these West End game books for some resources for yourself and research as well. So if George didn't care about continuity and maintaining a coherent story between the movies and the EU and all the material, he wouldn't be involved. He wouldn't have given like information like West End games. He wouldn't have source books on his desk so he can reference to keep in continuity, like even with like starfighters and other automobiles and ships and stuff like that, if he didn't care about it.
I mean, yeah, look, speaking of starships, look at the A New Hope Special Edition. I guess he didn't care about Shadows of the Empire. Guess he just hated it. And yeah, he had source books. He had all of these books, but that's when you get into the excuse. Well, George Lucas didn't write every single book, so not all of it is Star Wars. He didn't write Dark Empire, so that's not canon. I guess The Empire Strikes Back isn't canon either because he didn't make it all. It's the same exact thing. Hey, he didn't write all of the books. He didn't fully make Empire Strikes Back. But, you know,
exactly.
the EU isn't canon.
These, like, anti-EU people, they can't apply the same logic to, like, everything.
No, yeah, they'll just say, well, this is for the EU, but when you talk about the movies, that's a whole different story. It's the same exact thing because it's all Star Wars. It is all Star Wars.
And you were saying how, like...
Go ahead, Scram. Okay, so when you look at the Secrets of the Shadow of Empire, I do have the source book here. It's a wonderful. I highly recommend to put that in your source book library for. He's like, I have it right here, sister.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so
beautiful.
that one, it is a wonderful source book to have. So when you go back and reference the special editions, and I also have the Galaxy magazines down there too, which showcase a lot of the making of Shadows of the Empire and the special editions. So when you cross-reference, everything is coherent. George took some stuff from, and I'm not just talking about the ship, but George took regarding Shadows of the Empire and put it in like visually, put it in the OT and stuff like that. So and it's even in that source book, Secrets of Shadow of the Empire. So if he wasn't concerned, just like Darth Paz was saying and Scran was saying, if he wasn't concerned about the EU and continuity and stuff, then why would he have done that?
Yeah, exactly.
And I see everybody. Is it the swoop bikes you see in Tatooine?
That. And then also some of I forgot the name of the beast, the creature, but there's some scenes there too that were put in that were from,
I can't remember the name of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think like 2 years ago, or maybe even less than that, Tim, United Spacers Alliance, he was doing something pertaining to that. And so he had me look up that resource for him too as well. So it's all there. It's all there.
That book alone, like there's loads of good quotes about continuity and canon in there.
Yeah.
I mean, because
no, the video I did on it, I actually put like the page numbers in the corner so you can find them, and I just read them all because it's yeah.
Thank you, Soul Assassin. He says, get the source book here. So it's in the link, you guys, if you want that book. I highly recommend that book and stuff. But I got to get going. I have to do something by 3. It's within my own little business studio and stuff, but I have to get to work and stuff. So thank you, Scran, for having me on, and I'm honored and privileged to be one of your first guests on your channel.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's a privilege to have you here.
Yeah, and I'll go back and catch the replay. So if you guys are catching the replay, hello. You'll be catching the rest of it with me. So, all right, you guys have a good one, and thank you. All right, see you later. Pause.
Bounce.
Okay.
Bounce. Purist is too busy. Oh, what is he playing? He's probably Jedi Fallen Order. That's what he's doing.
He's too busy crying over LegendsCon.
I mean, yeah, they're punching down on the expanded universe over and over again. Did you get that Shadows of the Empire? Was that eBay? Because I still need to pick that one up. I don't have that one.
Yeah, I got mine on eBay. It was it's relatively cheap. I think because it was like a multimedia project thing. There was like quite a lot of them produced. Yeah.
You do. Your job is playing Jedi Fallen Order.
He's a fake fan. He's doing his real life job instead of talking EU.
Yeah, if I can even pick one of those Shadow source books up for, I don't know, like $5, I don't really care about the quality of source books or paperbacks. I just want to have the actual information.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like for hardcovers, that's a different story. I want them to be mint. I want them to be close to brand new as possible. But when you get a paperback, great, there's a crease, there's a rip. I don't care because paperbacks are going to, like, they're not hardcovers. They're not source books, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to collect mine all in hardback, but I know not all of them were produced in hardback, but
I think so for NJO.
Yeah, I know there's like, is it not like
5?
Crucible? Isn't Crucible hard to get in hardback? Or I don't even. I know there's a handful that weren't in hardback.
I think it was 5 that released. I'm pretty sure it's 5 that were released as hardback, but later they made all of the duologies.
All right, I've got you. Because I've seen the Dark Tide one. You can get it like 2 in 1.
Yeah, Agents of Chaos, all of that. But I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna fact check myself, so I don't sound like theory, but I'm pretty sure it was 5. Let me check. But you have a small one of Vector Prime, right? A small hardback.
Yeah, it's like what do you call it? It's a sci-fi something edition. It's like it's like a smaller version.
I have NJO Legends banner. Sadly.
Fake fan.
Yeah. So this is telling me paperback.
Let's see what the chat's saying.
Hardcovers, Vector Prime. This is Google, so it might be wrong.
It's just a
Here
Google.
said there are hardcovers for all the duologies and trilogy at the ending of the series. Yeah.
So it was just a Google search away.
It is just a Google search away. And I saw funny that Dash was like, "Oh yeah, they don't remember the name of all of the he doesn't remember the name of all the 19 books." Nobody asked him to remember the name of every single NJO book. It was the one he just said he listened to, and he didn't even read it. He just listened to, but he can't even
just
remember
name the one that you're listening to.
Yeah, he played it off as a joke. Well, I don't remember the name. Means it's slow. You got calling Vector Prime slow is like calling Revenge of the Sith slow. It's the same exact thing. Like you get introduced. Oh, sorry.
This is where I got confused. Steeg said Crucible's the only Legends banner free hardcover version, because it was obviously a bit late in the game, wasn't it? Like with Kenobi and no, Plagueis was 2011. There was a couple after the sale, obviously.
Was Plagueis delayed? I think.
Oh yeah, Plagueis it was supposed to come out in like 2008, and it got delayed for like 3 years because what was it? He wanted it was going to be mostly about Plagueis, but then he had to do more to do with Sidious, basically. Which is weird that he didn't put the Sheev name in there, concerning that, like, because George had input on that book through Howard Rothman.
Yeah. I was about to say Pierce. I think it got delayed because of the Bane.
Oh yeah, so I think the first Bane
Path
book,
of Destruction, yeah,
it did really good, and then they wanted to do another one. That was part of the reason.
I'm pretty sure they rushed Rule of Two, and I still really like Rule of Two. I think it's an amazing book, but if you look at the cover art for Path of
people always slag the cover.
Huh? What were you saying?
People always slag the cover to that one.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. But Path of Destruction and Dynasty of Evil, very, very good cover art. But just looking at the Rule of Two, you could see it's obviously rushed. And people say, well, yeah, the story shows it's rushed a bit. I mean, sure, the pacing is a bit fast, but I think it's pretty good overall. And I don't think it's the weakest either. I think Dynasty is the weakest.
Dynasty, that's the second one? Or is that the third one?
Are you muted, or is that my end?
That was maybe me. Can you hear me?
I'm not hearing you. Let me fix my headset.
You were muted for like a couple of minutes.
I think I got it. Talk.
Are we good now?
I'm gonna have to go grab a new headset. I have a secondhand headset like Jacob's laptop. Be right back.
Fake fan doesn't even have a working headset. Right, I can get caught up in chat now. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm not used to like interacting with real humans and the chat. I saw Soul Assassin was talking about the Loch Ness Monster. I haven't had time to catch him because I've been playing KOTOR. Pause had to bounce. That's right.
Bounce. I'm back. I could hear you.
Get a working headset, you fake fan.
I don't even know what's going on with it. It's been pretty glitchy.
I don't even have a headset. I'm working off my phone like a noob.
You haven't read Bane, right?
No, that's what I was going to ask. Like, when I come to read the Bane trilogy, like, how close is that in terms of like the Old Republic?
It's 1,000. I'm pretty sure it's 1,000 years out of. Was it the Phantom Menace or Rise of the Empire? Either or. For the Old Republic, so if that's 1,000, KOTOR is 4,000 years ago.
Oh, so it's closer.
It's 2,000 years before, after the Old Republic. I might be totally wrong because I still think it's still considered the Old Republic at that time.
Yeah, so it's closer to like the Phantom Menace era then, basically.
Yeah, 1,000 years before, about. Yeah, 3,000 years prior. Soul Assassin said.
The first Purist says the first book marks the ending of the Old Republic.
Because it's still on. I'm pretty sure it said in the audiobook when I recently listened to it, a novel of the Old Republic.
Was it an abridged version?
I lost I lost the audio again. I gotta. I don't know. I think it's my computer. 1 second. Bounce real quick again.
Bounce. Yeah, Steeg, I've got the comments there. It's just I'm a noob. I'll need to get Jacob to get me a secondhand laptop. Oh, William already made the joke. I had like this whole script written out about what I wanted to talk about, and it got totally sidelined. So that's not happening. That dude that was talking about like the Leland Chee thing, he was saying that Leland Chee started the maintaining of continuity. He was saying that like he was like reacting to YouTubers on his channel, and he was saying that like he was reacting to like Star Wars haters, because I'd done this video about like how Disney Star Wars isn't Star Wars kind of thing, and it obviously triggered him because he left in the comments, he was like all Star Wars is Star Wars, and then he put me in this thread, and he was like reacting to Star Wars haters, and then second in line was me, and then so he put me in this like thread for like with people that he considered Star Wars haters, and then I DM'd him, and he was like, "No, I wasn't saying that," but he did the whole like gaslighting thing. I wasn't happy with it, to be honest. What's Little Porg saying? For new people in chat, just a reminder, family friendly chat. Preferably, if you can control yourselves. Soul Assassin says, I really would have liked to have seen some stories set between the Hyperspace War and Dawn of the Jedi eras. Literally 10,000 plus years of emptiness, except for a few events and stories. Yeah, I've not read Dawn of the Jedi. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of that book, but I understand there's a lot of cool like concepts in that era. But hey, I guess Disney are going to make a movie about it. You can watch that. Matthew says, Vector Prime is an easy read. Why do they claim it is hard? Oh, yeah, they were like, what was it they said? They were saying that New Jedi Order is slow.
It is. It's very slow.
It's like he listened to a 3-hour abridged audiobook version. He forgot half of it.
So I said this in my stream, I think, when I covered it and I clipped it out. Vector Prime it's so action packed.
Yeah.
How is that? I don't understand how that's slow. And Stupendous Wave. Oh yeah, that's real slow. You haven't read he has not read Vector Prime.
He skipped it. He skipped it to the next series of books.
Two series books, because he skipped Legacy of the Force altogether. Then he went to Fate of the Jedi because Abeloth.
Oh, he's on the. Oh, dude.
And then he said, Fate of the Jedi is all the Kaitis stuff, which makes total sense, right?
Aye, that's Legacy, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously. Of course, but these guys don't even know. They make lore videos about Kaitis, about the Vong, about Abeloth, right? We all love Abeloth now, but they don't even know the order of books.
That's kind of like the issue I have with it. It's not just that they don't know it; it's that they're telling everyone the wrong information. People that don't know better, you know.
Like, listen, if it was someone that has read the books but they mistake the order, obviously that's fine.
Yeah.
But these people make lore videos meant to inform you on this, and they don't even know the timeline. That's the entire problem.
And then, like, just getting the lore wrong.
Oh, I didn't know that Steve Kenobi, R.A. Salvatore, is widely known for his elaborate action scenes.
Yeah, he does a lot of like fantasy novels. He's friends with Terry Brooks, who wrote the Phantom Menace novel.
No, I didn't know that either.
Because he actually convinced them to write the Attack of the Clones one, because he didn't want to do it after the backlash kind of thing.
Yeah, I like those. Obviously, Revenge of the Sith is supreme, but those are still good.
The only thing he was allowed to add to Attack of the Clones was like stuff with Anakin's mom.
Just her?
Just like scenes with her. Yeah, he wasn't really allowed to do much else. And then
I remember
Terry Brooks was allowed to add like the Rule of Two kind of thing.
Yeah, because there was a mention to it.
And then he let Matthew Stover go all out on his one.
And the Rule of Two in the Phantom Menace novelization wasn't. I'm pretty sure that Bane and the Rule of Two had kind of a synopsis in the original script that George wrote. Is that correct?
I know it was George. It was George's idea. I know Stieg actually knows a lot about that.
Because I'm pretty sure George came up with the idea, obviously, but I don't know. I heard that there was kind of like a synopsis. I might be totally wrong though.
I mean, I know he was. I'm pretty sure it was George's idea. So I don't know if maybe it was in the movie synopsis. I had a funny idea for a video because Liquid Blake's always talking about the Phantom Menace being like the only Star Wars movie. So like, I wanted to like take all this crap off the shelf and just have like Phantom Menace merch, right? And then take all the books off apart from Phantom Menace. Just have Phantom Menace sitting on the shelf by itself. And then I could have had like the Phantom Menace source book.
That's a nice one.
These are really cool. The third one's written by James Luceno.
With the source book?
It's just like the visual dictionary for the movies.
Give that to Theory. Because he definitely has it.
Probably has these.
Yeah, he has it because he knows more about the 6 movies than anyone else in the world. What I think is funny about that, he's like, I read the Star Wars archives. You know who made the Star Wars archives? That's who knows more about...
Paul Duncan, yeah.
Yeah, Paul Duncan. Paul Duncan knows more than anyone about the original 6 movies because he made the archives. But no, I guess the person that read them knows more. That makes total sense.
Yeah, it's not like... Because Paul Duncan got to go to like Skywalker Ranch and dig through all the archives and like he had like hour-long conversations with George.
And I need to pick up the archives, but I've read some like excerpts. I've watched videos on it.
They're quite expensive, eh? I don't want to get the smaller versions because it misses stuff out.
Oh yeah, I want like the full. I think it's $200 or something.
Yeah.
But from the stuff I've heard, I really like it, but I think it has done a lot of damage to the EU because you'll take George talking about his sequels, right, quote unquote, for about 2 paragraphs. But now, Darth Maul, Darth Talon. Paul Duncan asked, hey, what would you do if you made episode 7, episode 8, episode 9? And he gave his brief idea off the top of his dome, but now that's the sequel trilogy that everybody runs with. It's kind of...
And it's not even... He's had several ideas. He's had... Like, he had the midichlorian trilogy idea, which I would have liked to see.
And that would not have retconned any of the expanded universe post-Return of the Jedi. Or very little of it. Obviously, there's some retcons that he does.
I can hear Lil Porg laughing. Lil Porg, can you get me a cup of tea, please? I'm dying here.
No, the Phantom Menace, I like the Phantom Menace.
Oh, dude, it's amazing.
Like... I think I put it on my top 4. I really like it. And Duel of the Fates is cool. Obviously, one of the best, my favorite duel in Star Wars, but I think the story is amazing. Plus all of the connections you have with Cloak of Deception, Plagueis, Shadowhunter, those all tie into each other and then tie into the movie perfectly. Like I watched The Phantom Menace recently, then I audiobooked Plagueis. I've read it 3 times. And then I watched The Phantom Menace again. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, I remember this, I remember that, because I'd never read it and then watched it back to back. And there's so much connections that you see when you just read it and just watched it.
I don't think I've watched it since reading Plagueis, but there's obviously all those scenes where like Plagueis is hiding in the background and stuff. Like he was watching Sidious with Maul on the platform.
Yeah, when he was like, well, we'll reveal ourselves to the Sith, he was watching. Was that with the droid?
He knows that Sidious is going behind his back, kind of thing. And then he was also watching. He heard about Anakin and winning the Bounty Eve race, and he was watching Anakin with Qui-Gon. And then he actually went to
he went to the quarters, right? Yeah.
He actually went to meet Anakin, but just missed him. He was on his way to the Jedi Council chambers. Like,
that's when he ran.
It's so cool.
That's when he ran. Was that at Padme's quarters, right? When Anakin said, just a perfect connection.
It's so good. Like, what I've read of Lucino, he's really good at that. He's really good at like finding those kind of connective tissue kind of moments that just makes sense.
I mean, yeah, that's why George put him in charge of arguably the 3 most important books in the expanded universe. Plagueis, Labyrinth of Evil, and Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader. 3 very, very, very important books he was putting, like, he wrote those. That's his story.
I just love any excuse to whip this book out. It's so good.
Top 5. That's top 5.
It's, dude. Because I read half of it on like paperback, and then my brother got me this, and I finished it on this. It was so good.
But it's not canon, even though it says the prequel to Revenge of the Sith on the cover. I don't know if it says it on your cover. It's not canon.
I prequel to Star Wars Episode 3.
Yeah, and then it definitely doesn't make very big connections to the micro series. It's all Legends.
There's your favorite one there.
Oh my god.
It's got Steve Kenobi on the front of it. That can't be canon.
I don't know. Yeah, Steve Kenobi just said in the chat, lost respect for Lucino. I mean,
Tarkin.
I lost respect for Zahn. For Lucino, sure, Tarkin did damage to hyperspace, right? They moved that a bit. I might be mixing this up with something else. I don't remember Disney canon that much. I don't think I lost respect for Lucino because Tarkin, from what I remember, wasn't that damaging.
The thing with that one was it was in production before the sale, and then it got tampered with afterwards.
Just like the Lost Missions, but
yeah.
Like, I know when people say, hey, 1 through 6 and TCW is canon, do they mean TCW seasons 1 through 7, which would make no sense because that's Disney canon?
Oh, they consider 7. Oh, thank you. You're a wee gem.
Season 7 can't be canon because, oh, guys, George wrote the plot notes. Well, they were completely destroyed. The notes he wrote. Season 6 was tampered with. Season 5. Oh, sorry.
No, on you go. I'm butting in. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say you have to, if you see TCW as canon somehow, some way, it has to be seasons 1 through 5. It has to be.
Yeah. Well, season 6 is where you get the stuff like the inhibitor chip. That scene that I was talking about with Dooku, like revealing everything. You've got
oh yeah.
What is it?
Inhibitor chips.
What is it?
Oh no, that wasn't the chip. Sorry, that was season before. Yoda and the Wills.
That's it. Yoda and the Wills, and Yoda basically finds out exactly what's going to happen and keeps it to himself.
Yeah, I thought I didn't like that arc, but I thought
it's so stupid. But then
seeing the Wills is cool.
But they count Clone Wars as canon, right? It's
most
explained.
People, yeah.
It's explained in season 6 of the Clone Wars that Qui-Gon can't he can't like appear, you know, he can't be like a Force Ghost. But then in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, he turns up at the end. It's like...
And Theory said, well, yeah, would George do this? No. Am I going to want to see this and like it? Yeah. That's what he said.
He said, I don't care that this destroys canon.
Okay, he's
I'm
a George
happy.
Lucas purist that does, like, Qui-Gon being a Force ghost damages the entire point of midichlorians and of Force ghosts. But hey, guys, it's fun, so it's all good. It's all good.
And it subscribes to Filoni's ideology of like it doesn't matter as long as it's like a good moment kind of thing.
Exactly. But how is that a good moment? Like seeing Qui-Gon Jinn.
Because you get to see Qui-Gon for 2 seconds. There's nothing to it. It's so like bland. And then the thing, I noticed something with season 7 of Clone Wars because Dave Filoni did this interview where he was talking about Ahsoka fighting Darth Maul, like close to the end of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And he said that came from George, but he also said that George wanted Ahsoka dead. So it's like, which is it?
He lied
did he want
there,
her to die, or did he want her to like fight Maul at the end?
Yeah. I think that duel itself was ridiculous because Ahsoka was out of training for 6 months, and then Maul was imbued with Night Sister magic. I hate it anyway, right? Maul should be dead. But that's very powerful Maul. Well, he has metal legs. He also has Night Sister magic, but somehow a rusty person that hasn't trained in 5 months comes in and beats Darth Maul. It's, yeah. But it's cool. Siege of Mandalore's peak. I'm sorry. It's great.
All they had to do, remember they were fighting on that big beam. All they had to do was cut the beam and he'd win.
Yeah. And then how she beat him was even more ridiculous because she like grabbed his lightsaber and beat him in hand-to-hand combat, which, yeah, let's beat Darth Maul, the person who killed a Vong in hand-to-hand combat. Yeah, Keely's right. It's not even a Siege of Mandalore. Dave Filoni doesn't know what siege means.
Steeg says, I got death threats from Filoni simps when I pointed out that an unarmed Ahsoka defeated an unarmed Maul. Oh, Paul, pause, you're going to get some death threats coming your way.
Yeah, that would be punching down, though. You can't punch down. No, Filoni fans, I like some of them because they can admit that the stuff he's done in Disney sucks, but a lot of them are just like, oh, he's George's apprentice. No, that's James Luceno.
Oh, you think Luceno's different? Yeah.
Oh, I definitely think so. Who would it be besides him? Maybe Stover?
I think Luceno definitely got a lot of those important books, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, Maul, who killed multiple Jedi Masters, a Vong, Wampa, Night Sister got beat by a Padawan.
Because she beats like General Grievous as well, like in the first season.
I think I made a whole video about that.
She's a fresh, brand new Padawan. She beats Grievous, and Obi-Wan struggled to beat him.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure Grievous had her by the throat with his arm or his hand, and then she somehow slipped away.
She just, she's the cannon bomb.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it all started with the TCW movie.
Cool Kid says, do you think Lucas sees TCW as canon? Well, there's that quote that goes about, isn't there, where he says that he doesn't differentiate it from Star Wars. But I feel like that applies to the entirety of the EU.
Pretty much. Well, just take his most recent quote about continuity. Like, you can't see the EU as canon and see TCW as canon. It's pretty much impossible. So I'm not going to speak for George. I don't know what he thinks of TCW, but looking at his most recent quote about the father, children, and grandchildren, it's impossible to see the EU and TCW in one timeline. So probably not, but I'm not going to make a definitive statement.
But like he also really liked the Tartakovsky one, which he was involved with. And it's like,
I mean, yeah, he signed off on, he wanted a second season because of how good it was and how well received it was.
Yeah, and he was obviously aware of the multimedia project. It's like he probably just trusted that his company would keep it all together. But
I mean, yeah,
Filoni
people
wasn't.
think he was writing every script. He was involved somewhat. You're more knowledgeable on me than this, but the first 2 seasons he was somewhat involved. Past that, not a lot.
Yeah, pretty much. Basically, he said he was going to start TCW and Underworld, that show.
Yeah.
He was
I
going
wish
to
that
get.
came out.
Yeah, he said he was going to get them set up, and then he was going to step aside and make his own stuff. Like he was making Indiana Jones 4, his movie Red Tails. There was a bunch of
Yeah.
other stuff he was doing. So
He
he
was
was off
also
he was
making the
off making
sequels, right?
movies. That's why he was only checking in like once or twice a week. But then
Exactly.
basically he liked the look of the animation, and he decided to get more involved, like to make a movie out of it. But the
Yeah.
movie's just made up of like a couple of the episodes.
Yeah, you can tell where an episode would end. And then where an
Because
episode
if
would
you're
start.
watching it chronologically, you watch like 2 or 3 episodes from season 1, and then you watch the movie, and then it's
Yeah, the whole order. It's not even. You don't even watch it chronologically if you want the full canon, whatever. It's like watch season 3, watch the movie, watch the. It's all over the place.
But yeah, so he was basically, and that's the thing with Clone Wars. Like, you see those whenever they talk about George coming up with an idea, it's always like the same 2 or 3 bits of footage of him sitting at that big desk,
Yeah.
and you can tell because he's got like 2 plaid shirts that he always wears in those. So they just use the same footage, and then it's like basically he would turn up, and he did. He trained them all how to like make Star Wars. Basically, it wasn't just
He did that with
Filoni.
everybody.
It was a big room full of like creatives, and then so he would give his ideas, and then they would make storylines out of it, and then different writers would get assigned to make the story. But
I mean, Filoni wasn't even writing every episode, so I don't know what people are.
He's not credited with like.
I think he did 2.
Yeah, but he had a lot of control. Like those videos I made, like people were getting a bit annoyed that I kept, like at the bottom, it was like every time Filoni would say, I wanted, like I'd write it out, and they were like, that's a bit pernickety, and I'm like, it's just showing how much control this dude had. Like he got his own way, type of thing.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of sad that I used to like TCW. I'm still thankful for it because, I mean, that's like the first thing I got into besides the movies. Helped me fall in love with Star Wars, but it's terrible. But some of these people, oh, my beloved TCW, it's a terrible show. Sure, you can still have nostalgia for it and love for it because it helped you fall in love with Star Wars, but it's objectively the canon thought bomb. It objectively is.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it before I got into EU, and then I started watching channels that were like pointing that stuff out, and I was like, oh, that's insane, like that this dude was allowed to do that. But yeah.
There's a story of Lucas getting annoyed. Yeah, the Force Unleashed is weird because I'm pretty sure he said it's in a different world, or he said something like that. So that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, there's one. I've got a clip of Sam Witwer talking about it. Basically, he gave them permission on that game to kind of go OP. Like it was obviously not like canon, if you know what I mean.
Well, the novelization is in the canon.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of that way with all the games, isn't it?
In a way, but people look at the Force Unleashed and say, "Hey, well, Starkiller killed Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, right? That's part of a DLC. It's not even part of the main canon game."
Yeah, exactly.
So when you look at, hey, this is not canon, why are you looking at a DLC that is specifically said, hey, him killing Luke Skywalker and Han Solo is not canon? But I don't like the game, like, without the DLC, but I think it's pretty bad anyway. But he signed off on Galen Merrick's crest being the symbol for the rebellion. The rebels, not the rebellion, sorry.
Yeah, but then in Clone Wars, Filoni took like the tip of it and put it on helmets as if like he started the Rebel Alliance.
Oh yeah. Oh, he did a lot. He loves his armor. Yeah, his TCW armor. Wolf, Commander Wolf.
I know.
The
He's always
novels,
putting
triumphs, and
wolves on
games.
him.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with it is when they say that like it in some way improves the prequels. When
What, TCW?
oh yeah, but it
Yeah.
actually does the opposite. Like if you look at, it's like they were trying to like make they were like apologizing for like the criticisms for the movies, like making Anakin more serious and stuff like that and more mature. But then
Yeah.
so you go from Attack of the Clones Anakin to this version and then back to like Revenge of the Sith. Like not much has really changed there.
It's also not consistent at all. It's like
Yeah, basically.
it's apparent. I think it's like, how long after is the TCW movie from Attack of the Clones? Is it? I'm pretty sure it was stated. I'm trying to remember.
From the movie to the
So
show,
from
it's
Attack
only
of the
like a
from
few
Attack,
months or something, isn't it?
damn. So yeah, that's a very inconsistent character. But yeah, look at the micro series. Sure, Anakin doesn't have many speaking lines, but when he goes off to fight Ventress, like not listening to Obi-Wan, that's very well an Anakin's character. Not
Oh
him
yeah.
going around fighting the father, son, and daughter.
Yeah, because I like the idea that TCW is kind of like what do they call it, like war propaganda thing.
Yeah, Republic propaganda.
But the issue with that, I would say, is the Mortis arc, where it's like, I don't know, it's just a bit far removed from the rest of it. You know, like who's writing this stuff?
If you want to try to justify the Mortis arc as Republic propaganda, you could probably say that's trying to explain the Force to citizens. That's my explanation for the Mortis arc.
Like that whole arc, it's like metaphorical as well. It's not meant to be like the literal embodiment of the Force either.
Yeah.
Because once all those characters die, it's not like the Force goes away.
Well, yeah, the father died and the daughter died, so why didn't the universe just end? It should have ended, right?
Yeah.
But I know Anakin's gonna be the father now, and Ahsoka's gonna be the daughter. And yeah, Abeloth, right? Ahsoka season 2, Abeloth's coming in there apparently.
The Den of Abeloth.
Oh, I can't wait for the Stupendous Wave videos on that. And Ahsoka season 2.
Oh, they're gonna love it. They're absolutely gonna love it.
I mean, yeah, it's a character. Like same thing with the Vong, the Den of Vong. They want to see stories they never read adapted for some reason. I don't know why. Because, oh, guys, I know about the Vong. They're cool. Well, if you really explored them, you would not want Disney to handle them. But remember, Disney pick one. God, Disney has to pick one.
Oh yeah, like pick one of these. I want one of these.
Yeah, he wants KOTOR and Tales of the Jedi, the real Tales of the Jedi, but he wants to see them ruined.
Oh, there's Vex in the chat, the Mr. Glass initiator. How's
Mr.
it going,
Glass.
man? There's the Vex. You'll have time to catch up because we're not reading a chapter of the night. So
you want any excuse to not read Shatterpoint?
I'm actually really liking the book, to be honest with you. It's all you fake fans that keep giving it a hard time.
7 out of 10.
You'd give it higher than Kenobi, huh?
I forget my rating.
What's your rating system? Does it change on a daily basis?
No. I'm trying to think of a book that I like, but that's not too high. Sure, the Attack of the Clones one, that's like a 6-ish, and I still like it, right? 7, 6, I don't know.
They're all 7s out of 10s.
Yeah, every single Plagueis is a 7 out of 10.
There's Nasal Servant Arc wanting to come on. Dude, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe I'm actually, because I'm going to be probably coming off in about 10 minutes anyway. We're coming up to like 2 hours talking nonsense.
Facts, I'm the biggest troll on YouTube.
Tell you what, Nasal. I'll organize another one, and I'll get you on. I know you love your EU, so you can come on and talk about Phantom Menace because that's the only EU book that exists.
Yeah, not even the movie, just the book.
Wait, they made a movie out of that? Awesome.
Yeah, it was an adaptation.
A near perfect adaptation.
Yeah.
I think Phantom Menace like holds up the best because it's still got a lot of like practical elements in it.
Yeah, way more than Attack of the Clones and
Mhm.
Revenge of the Sith.
Nice
But-
one, Nazo. I'll definitely get you on, dude.
Yeah, I still need to read the X-Wing books. I'm looking at Steeg's comment. I haven't read any of them.
Wait, what was it? Theory said I haven't read all of
I
them.
read some. I read some of the X-Wing books.
Which ones? Oh, the ones with the X-Wings in them.
The ones where there's an X-Wing on the cover. Those are the ones you read. Yeah, Cloak of Deception, Shadowhunter.
I'm still reading that one and loving it. It's definitely got that like Phantom Menace aesthetic to it, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, you're reading 2 books at once.
I'm reading 3.
Oh yeah, Dark Tide, yeah.
Shatterpoint, Cloak of Deception, and Dark Tide Ruin.
That's great. Which one do you like? Dark Tide? You're on Ruin, you said?
On Ruin, yeah.
Yeah, how are you liking that? Because I'm almost. What am I? I'm like 20 pages away.
Are you still on Onslaught?
No, 20-ish pages away from finishing it.
Oh, you're on Ruin as well. Cool. Yeah. I'm. I think I'm on like chapter 7 or 8.
I like the Onslaught a lot.
Oh yeah, like because this one's obviously got a lot more like from the Vong perspective.
Yeah, more Shadow Shy.
Yeah, whereas Onslaught was more like everyone just kind of starting to work out how they were going to be able to combat like the Vong, and
yeah,
they had a couple of like failures and kind of learned from it a bit. I like that they're like gradually like just learning bit by bit how they're going to get through it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and then in Ruin, they're still kind of. I don't want to spoil anything.
You didn't want to ruin it.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin Ruin. Yeah, they're still not as. They don't know exactly what they're doing, but
yeah,
kind of learn from Onslaught and
because like the New Republic don't want anything to do with the Jedi right now. The Jedi don't want to like just go out there and they don't want. What is it they say? They don't want to go on the offensive, like preemptive defense or whatever they call it.
Well, yeah, that's Luke and Corrin that agree with that.
Yeah, because they think that's that. I wrote it down because they say if they do that, if they go on the preemptive defense, then they might defeat the Vong, but then they'll be left with like 100 Darth Vaders, basically.
Yeah, because they'll all be. Yeah, that's mostly Luke. He doesn't want to. Like, it's kind of hard because, the New Republic said, "Hey, well, we're not going to help you anymore." So it's 100 of the Jedi, and Luke doesn't want to attack. So.
Yeah, I feel like that's maybe going to come back to bite him later on. I think he's maybe. I don't know. He's maybe not thinking quite. I don't know, because the other Jedi obviously have their own ideas of how they should handle it.
Yeah.
He's maybe not thinking out of the box enough. And
well, he's very cautious because of Vader, because of himself, like Dark Empire. So he has fallen before, so he knows how tempting it is and how easy it is. So he doesn't want any of his other students to fall. Maybe he's a bit paranoid, probably, yeah.
Yeah, because he said in Onslaught, he was saying that like his brief fall to the dark side is kind of it's kind of affected his ability of like training and kind of recognizing what his students need and stuff like that. I think he's just a bit over compensating at this point.
He does. definitely overreacting, but like Vader, him doesn't want that to happen to his niece and nephew, Jason, Jaina, Anakin. So it's pretty hard for him. But then you have like the other side of the academy that, hey, let's just go fight them.
Yeah, the Kip Duran followers.
Yeah.
I think like the coolest thing, one of the coolest things from reading it is Corran Horn's lightsaber. You know, like it's got the silver blade.
Yeah, that's very cool. And then it
And
turns
then
like purple.
he like twists it, and then
Yeah.
the kyber crystal changes into like a different crystal, and then it elongates and it goes purple, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I
But
think it's 9 feet.
at the start of this book, he's fencing with or sparring. He's sparring with Mara Jade, and he does this move where like he does that, but he makes it the emitter go out. So like she swings and misses the blade, and then that's his chance to kind of attack her, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's
And then
thinking he can utilize that on the Vong at some point.
I think is Luke there during that? Then he's like, hey, that's not respectable. He's like, well, we're gonna have to do it against the Vong.
Yeah, basically.
And I think it was Onslaught where he used that on the other Vong. I've heard Shadao Shai's whatever the other person's part of his domain was, hit his eye out.
Yeah. That was near the end, just before.
Yeah, before he almost, and then Gainer came in. Yeah.
But before Ganner comes in, that what do they call it? The slash rat. It comes through the floor.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
because they put the chemical.
Vong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
really cool.
he did a great job visualizing the slash rats and the chemicals or that were put into the dirt to make them come up. Like that would be such a cool sequence to see in live action. Like Gainer holding him above the slash rats, eating all the Vong. I really like Onslaught.
Oh, Onslaught was brilliant. And in HoloNet's documentary, it was talking about how obviously the Phantom Menace had come out by this point. So like when he's describing lightsaber battles, he was a lot more like descriptive and visual with that, which totally came out in Onslaught, I thought.
And in Onslaught, you get like Star Wars theory. If you want to see some real Luke Skywalker to cry over, when Luke's on Belkaden and Jason throws his lightsaber out of the prison, and then Luke grabs the 2 lightsabers, go cry over that. That's like an amazing sequence. That's awesome. Where
because
he's 2 green lightsabers and chopping all these Vong down. Cry over that.
Yeah, it comes because I think Jason's trying to force his lightsaber to himself, and then it vanishes.
Yeah.
And then Luke comes in and he crosses the blades and he like chops one of the amphistaffs in half. It's awesome.
When Jason had that vision, and then Luke came to save. I really liked that.
Yeah, he had that vision where he rescues them, but obviously it didn't play out that way. So it's like they talk about like how Anakin had visions of the future, but it was just like a possibility kind of thing. That it doesn't always play out the way that they see it.
Yeah.
And it didn't play out well for Jason. Right, dudes, we're coming up for 2 hours, and I could probably talk a bit longer, but I'm sure Paz has his homework to get done.
Yeah, definitely.
Cheers for popping on, though, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love supporting sub 373 subscriber channels.
Oh well, I'll need to have you on again. Obviously, when I do KOTOR, and there'll probably be other opportunities. So
yeah, when you play Jedi Fallen Order, I know you're gonna like that.
I've still got another 40 hours to put into Outlaws. So
yeah, make sure to buy the most expensive version as well.
Mm-hmm. And I know, are you going to be doing like streams when Andor season 2 comes out?
Yeah, probably.
If you need someone to laugh at it with, I'll hop on for that.
Definitely.
Right, dude. Cheers again, and cheers to everyone in chat. Like we've had like over 20 people in here at points. It's obviously because the troll Darth Paws is here. And Alora as well. So We shall speak to y'all later. Have a good rest of your evenings.
Bounce.
You can bounce. I was going to say long live the EU, but just bounce.
Nah, bounce. Bounce. Thanks for having me on again. Bounce.
Cool, man. See you later.
Bounce.